Before there were answers, there were stories. And before they were written down, they were spoken aloud in places like the Agora. These were not myths meant to entertain, but questions meant to endure. Welcome to Echoes of the Agora. Most people think the story of Medea is about rage, about jealousy, about a woman who went too far. It is usually told as a warning about passion, about emotional excess, about what happens when love becomes uncontrollable. But that reading is too simple, because the story of Medea is not about anger. It is about what happens when devotion is treated as disposable. Medea was not born into Greece. She was a foreigner, a princess of Colchis, raised among gods older than Olympus, trained in knowledge the Greeks feared and depended on at the same time. She was valuable before she was acceptable, useful before she was welcome. When Jason arrived in her homeland, he was nothing without her. He needed her magic, her intelligence, her willingness to betray her own blood, and she did. Not because she was foolish, not because she was seduced, but because she believed in something the Greeks claimed to value above all else: loyalty. Medea gave Jason victory. She helped him steal the golden fleece. She neutralized traps, outwitted kings, and silenced threats no sword could touch. She destroyed her own family to ensure his escape. She abandoned her homeland forever. She crossed a point of no return, and in return she was promised a future. But promises in this story are conditional. When Jason and Medea arrived in Greece, her usefulness slowly expired. She was no longer needed for conquest, no longer needed for glory. Her power became uncomfortable once it was no longer directed outward. She became inconvenient, foreign, unsettling, a reminder of debts Jason preferred to forget. The same abilities that saved him now threatened his image. The same loyalty that built his name now complicated his ascent. So Jason did what power often does when it no longer needs devotion. He reframed betrayal as reason. He chose a new marriage, a Greek bride, a political alliance. And he told Medea it was practical, necessary. For their children, for stability, this justification matters. Because Jason does not deny what Medea did for him. He simply declares that it no longer counts. This is how erasure works. This is where the myth shifts. Because Medea does not lose control here. She becomes lucid. She understands something devastating, that loyalty is only admired while it is useful, and sacrifice is only noble when someone else benefits from it. Medea is not punished for excess. She is reacting to erasure. She has given everything and is now told she deserves nothing. The Greeks often portrayed her response as madness, but the story itself does not support that. Her actions are deliberate, measured, terrifying precisely because they are intentional. She speaks clearly, she plans carefully, she understands the cost of every move she makes. Medea refuses the role assigned to her, the role of the discarded woman, the silent foreigner, the necessary loss, and so she makes herself unforgettable, not because violence is justified, but because invisibility was the alternative. This is what makes the myth unbearable. Medea forces the world to acknowledge a truth it would rather ignore, that systems built on loyalty often collapse the moment loyalty asks to be honored. Jason survives. He lives on. But stripped of meaning, the hero without a witness, the victor without a story worth telling, a man who gained everything by abandoning the person who made it possible. And Medea disappears from the human world entirely, not redeemed, not forgiven, but no longer bound by it. The ancient Greeks did not tell this story to excuse her. They told it to confront something far more uncomfortable. What happens when a society consumes devotion and then condemns it for existing? What happens when sacrifice is demanded but gratitude is optional? What kind of violence is created not by rage, but by being made expendable? Medea's story endures because it exposes a pattern that repeats far beyond myth. Those who are most willing to give everything are often the first to be discarded. And when that happens, the question is no longer about morality, but about responsibility. Who is accountable when devotion is exploited? Who bears the cost when loyalty is rewarded with erasure? The myth does not answer these questions. It leaves them open because they were never meant to be resolved, only recognized. The ancient world is silent now, but its questions remain. And Medea still asks one of the hardest. If loyalty is only valued when it benefits power, was it ever loyalty at all? Until next time, listen closely. The echoes never faded.